I'm gonna begin this video with a poem that was written by one of you lovely crew members. I really need to share this with you. Sharing love and light all through the world at night, midnight talks with the divine, hearts growing together on a vine. Creating a crew with the entire worldview, spreading a light for the ships at night. We're flying together, though worlds apart, keeping compassion deep in our hearts. A spiritual crew that let the light grew, creating a world that is oh so new. Thank you so much, Charlie, for this wonderful poem. You made my day. And I just want to send you all so much light and so much blessings. Hey crew, welcome back to the Spiritual Social. I'm Lexi, your local light worker. I'm a tarot reader and an astrologer, and today you're having a combination of astrology and tarot in this clip. This is an astrological tarot forecast, which means I'll be getting into what the upcoming Mercury Retrograde in Libra means to you according to where it is taking place in your chart. I'm also going to be talking about the dates that the Mercury Retrograde is going to take place, the degrees, and what this means if you have personal planets conjunct this Mercury Retrograde in Libra. So stick around. I hope you'll enjoy this clip, and let's get to work. The upcoming Mercury retrograde, which is a period of reinvention, reconsideration, reanalysis, going back over certain things that we might have crossed over far too quickly when Mercury was direct, is taking place in the sign of relationships, commitment, negotiations, long-term success, love, pleasure. Libra. Libra is traditionally ruled by Venus, the goddess of love. She's also known as Aphrodite as well, and in certain cultures she's revealed as Inanna or Ishtar. What can happen when Mercury, the energy of the mind, quick, fast thinking, very brave, very decisive, very determined to gather a lot of information and quickly distribute it, what happens when it comes together with Venus? This energy of beauty, pleasures, a concern with money, a concern with how we look, a concern with how we speak, whether this is aesthetically pleasing, whether this is compassionate enough, and whether it will get us the desired material results. Because Venus does have a slightly materialistic side to it. It tends to rule the gorgeous signs of Taurus and Libra, who are both highly successful business signs as well. So during this Mercury retrograde in Libra, we are going to have love on the brain. We are going to be thinking about how our relationships are affecting our money energy. We are going to be reconnecting with people from our past. This is an ex-blast from the past kind of energy. And we're going to have long conversations where we need to renegotiate previously set personal boundaries, both in our business partnerships, in our romantic partnerships, but also in matters that have to deal with worth, because both money and beauty are related to a sense of self-worth. Now, technically speaking, for those of you that are into these kind of facts, the upcoming Mercury retrograde in Libra is beginning on the 27th of September, and it begins at 25 degrees Libra. It will take about 3 weeks to complete its movement, what it looks like from the Earth as the backward movement of Mercury, although guys, keep in mind this is only an optical illusion. And by the time Mercury completes this illusory movement backwards, we will be on the 19th of October and Libra will be at 10 degrees rather than 25 degrees. As a quick side note, this is really interesting because this Mercury retrograde in Libra is taking place exactly on my ascendant. I am a 25 degrees Libra ascendant, and I'm really excited to see what this retrograde brings up. So before I get into each individual aspect, I do want to check the overall temperature of this Mercury retrograde by using tarot and oracle cards. Just a brief check with the White Witch Tarot, and then I have here the Queen of the Moon Oracle to try to understand what is coming collectively for all of us for this Mercury retrograde in Libra, and then you can listen to each of your individual placements. So let's just see what Spirit has to say. Wow, the Hierophant. I love this energy. God bless. So Mercury retrograde in the sign of love. We're all gonna have love on the brain, and the Hierophant appeared. Taurus, commitment, institutions, putting a ring on it, marriage certificates, the commitment that you've been waiting for. So for most of us collectively, this Mercury retrograde in Libra is gonna be a time of commitment. How much do we want to work with that person or group of people? How much do we want to be part of that social group or that institution? How much do I crave that person, and for how long, and how can we create a long-term situation out of the weird situationship or kind of crush that we were vibing into? So the Hierophant, commitment central. Wow, I'm so happy to see this very stabilizing energy. Uranus and Venus are very friendly energies to each other. It talks about spontaneous love, spontaneous realizations regarding money, beauty, pleasure. And we also have here, wow, blossoming. I didn't want to get excited, but here it is, blossoming. And I'm so happy to see that actually the colors I'm wearing today, all this beautiful Taurian green, a Mother Earth kind of green, is actually represented in this oracle card. And you saw me guys live shuffle, right? So these are the overall tarot and oracle card energies for the upcoming Mercury retrograde in Libra. Commitment and blossoming into a love partnership, a business partnership, a reconciliation with family members, or joining that social group of friends that you always wanted to be part of. What more could you ask? Now let's get into your individual analysis. If you have Mercury retrograde conjuncting your Sun in Libra, then this period is going to be one in which you are going to go over certain life goals. You're going to rethink, what is it that makes you going? What is it that you want to invest your time and energy in? And what does your life revolve around? And if you find out that there are certain mistakes, that you might have made certain decisions in a haste, this is the best time to reevaluate your life goals, to put yourself back on track, potentially by switching modes of study, by switching jobs, by switching locations. You might relocate to another place because you decide to change the focus of your life. The Sun shows our identity, our life goals, what matter to us truly, our personality, and exactly what I mentioned earlier, what our life revolves around. So Mercury, the energy of the mind, in the beautiful sign of Libra, coming conjunct your Sun, will help you reevaluate goals related to how you're taking care of yourself, whether there is enough justice in your life, and how can you rebalance your energy and reevaluate how you've been spending your energy. If you have Mercury retrograde conjunct your moon, the moon is our soul, our emotions, who we are in our intimate sphere. It talks about the connection to our mother, our home, how cozy we feel in the world, and what we like to do to rest and relax and replenish our energy. Well, this is going to be a really emotional 3 weeks if you have this Mercury retrograde in Libra conjuncting your moon. Your moon in Libra is going to want to be surrounded by beautiful smells, great conversations, and negotiations that make you feel safe. They make you feel like you can trust other people and that you can rely on them. You are going to go over certain things that you discussed in relation to your mother. Issues regarding maternity, how you nurture yourself, potentially even pregnancy and childbirth are gonna come up to the surface. You're also gonna be thinking a lot about how you process emotions through your body. So give yourself this yummy time to rest, retreat, and go hermit. When we have a Mercury retrograde conjunct the moon, it is an excellent time to take a break, get some rest, and really feel your way through this period. It's a bit paradoxical because Mercury talks about the mind, but you're gonna want to really explore unconscious part of yourselves and how emotions are coming up to the surface in your personal connections. If this Mercury retrograde is taking place on your Mercury, congratulations, it's your Mercury return. So you're having something quite interesting, a Mercury retrograde on a Mercury return. It's almost as if your synapses are being uprooted so they can be replanted, or you're creating new neural pathways in your mind. There's some sense of neural pruning happening with you at the moment as you're going over a lot of documents, a lot of conversations. You might be reevaluating the facts that you gathered so far and taking a moment to just detach yourself from them. Am I truly getting the right information? Am I getting it from where I should be getting it? What is real? What is the truth? Where can I collect better information? Is gossip really affecting my state of mind? Or am I affecting other people's potentially public role or status through the gossip that I'm spreading around? These are certain issues that will be predominantly on your mind. The way in which you speak can be a little bit blundered, but it won't be to a very far extent, because Mercury retrograde in Libra, Libra being a very beautiful energy, a trine energy to Gemini, the sign that is naturally ruled by Mercury, then this shows us that it's going to be quite harmonious. You won't have that big of a challenges, but it will feel a little bit wacky, and you will need to go over certain ideas that you previously held and try to understand, do they still fit what I want to achieve in my life? This is a test of your intelligence as well. You could get into chess. You could start developing all sorts of a passion for board games, a passion for all types of games, and you might do it to a really obsessive degree. Keep in mind, this is all for fun. Mercury does have a lighthearted energy. So even though you might feel as if your neural pathways are being reorganized, it's not a case of you losing your mind. It's a case of infusing it with more fun. If you have Mercury retrograde conjunct Venus, wow, you are actually going to be the center of attention in this retrograde period. This means that you naturally have a Venus in Libra, and when Mercury comes over your Venus, there is a sense that you will have to bring out all the romantic skeletons out of the closet, and if you don't bring them out, they're going to emerge by themselves. This means that exes might want to return back to you, things that you left unspoken, unsaid, the people that you ghosted as well, or people that have ghosted you if you are on the other end of the receiver, they will return. Things need to be brought up to the surface. You need to reevaluate, you need to reconsider it. I would strongly suggest approaching each relationship that returns in your life with a grain of salt and with a lot of communication. Strive for clarity, strive for balance, negotiate your position, and do not give off of your energy, attention, and precious time to anyone from your past that does not deserve it or has not yet earned it. Libra and Venus energy is about self-worth, and Libra especially, it's about the scales of justice, represented by the goddess Mat, the one that weighs the soul of people before she allows them into the underworld. If your soul is light, it means that you can pass over because you have lived a life in accordance to your consciousness. If your soul is heavy, you've got some more work to do, so you're being plunged back into the karmic wheel and you're reincarnated to suffer again through a lot of similar experiences. So keep this in mind as you're going through this retrograde, my loves. If you have a Venus in Libra, you are going to have a really crazy case of the exes coming back. Not only that, but business negotiations or work negotiations, contractual agreements that somehow did not take off the ground while Mercury was direct, they have a good chance of returning. So if you really wanted to work with somebody but there was no energy pushing the connection forward, now is the time to reapproach that person or to receive spontaneous communication from them. If you have a Mercury retrograde conjunct your Mars, this makes you a Mars in Libra. So my loves, in this period, you are going to be super driven to write, read, study. You are going to have to create documents very quickly. You might even have to pull an all-nighter at work. You might need to go over taxes or documentations that have to do with certificates, maybe birth certificates, maybe marriage certificates. You might need to clean up your closet and go over every agreement that has been written in your household. You might help a relative move out or clear their assets. You might need to get in touch with lawyers. You might need to find a way to legally defend yourself in this period. And any contractual agreement or any legal clarification that is pending will reach a resolution in this period or will return. At the same time, if you had a legal agreement or if you had some sort of closure on a situation, this is the period when that can be appealed. If more information is coming in, because Mercury is going to funnel this, it might push you into action to contest that appeal or to have to provide the authorities with more information. Now, in other cases where there is no legal agreement, where you're not driven to write or read or study a lot, this shows me that it will be a period where you'll be very driven to work on your body. You're gonna want to make yourself look more beautiful. And I think this is because you are going to enter into connections with people that, as I mentioned, for people that have Venus in Libra, this is a similar experience. Exes might return in your life and you want to look good for them. This is a revenge is a life well lived kind of energy. So you want to look good to undermine the competition. Mars is competition, right? Mars is this action prone, very virile, very masculine energy. But in the sign of Libra, it's actually quite feminine, quite artistic, poetic, a little bit philosophical, and more passive than all the other Marses in the zodiac. And when Mercury infuses this energy with a lot of intelligence, a thirst for knowledge, well, you can actually be the kind of person that writes their essay in one go, or finishes their exam in 20 minutes, or is able to potentially even win some poetry slams or competitions that have to do with verbal skills, verbal aptitude. You're a whiz at communication during this Mercury retrograde, and you might want to go back and reread a book or reconsult a document or do some more research on that specific issue that maybe you didn't have time to tackle in the past, or maybe it just was there in the back of your mind and you noticed that there was something missing. Now you're gonna go back to the drawing board and complete that assignment with gusto. If this Mercury retrograde is taking place on your Saturn, this is an excellent time to reevaluate the personal boundaries that you have created in your life. This is also a good time to figure out why did you decide to cut or block out certain people. And if people return in your life, there might be a sense of responsibility. You might experience a sense of shame regarding the communications that have happened in the past between you and that particular individual. There will be a sense of karma unfolding for you. But the best way in which you can handle this transit and make it so that you can benefit from it is if you come clean, if you tell the truth, if you really own up to whatever it is that has happened. So if you told a couple of white lies in the past, then this is the time to apologize and come clean with the truth. Or if other people have been lying to you, have been keeping things away from you, Saturn's energy, ignited by Mercury's intelligence and ignited by Mercury's intelligence and quick thinking energy, is going to make those people come back and apologize, give you what is yours. The laws of karma are the ones that are going to play out in this period. Now, this is also a period where a Saturn in Libra, because if you're having a Mercury retrograde on your Saturn, then you are natally a Saturn in Libra, you're going over certain contractual agreements. So this can be as well, similar to the Mars and Venus energy, you might be reconsidering a marriage, certain vows that were exchanged, potentially a document that you signed concerning your shared assets. Saturn in Libra is about working really hard to make sure that there is an equal give and take in partnerships. And when Mercury comes into this energy, it's a lot about having certain arguments, having certain power struggles, and needing to be very patient with the other person to truly create the space to allow them to tell you what it is that they find shameful about this exchange, or what it is that they feel that is not on an equal footing, or is a little bit basically detrimental for that person. This is generally the kind of energy that talks about what's my take from this situation? How do I win in this situation? And in the end, you might find out that there are no winners. There is just a process of both parties learning a heckload of wisdom in the situation. If this Mercury retrograde is taking place conjunct your Uranus, then this is going to be a really, really fun time. Try not to schedule, try to go with the flow, because it will be a period where you might want to make a plan for how you will write a piece of work, how you will create an essay, how you will work on a project or a business plan. You might create something and have a wonderfully clear vision, and then as soon as this Mercury retrograde comes in on your Uranus, you're gonna be flooded with new ideas. So allow a lot of mental space for you to change your mind, for you to say, I'll get back to you on that, because I'm really getting a lot of downloads in this period. Spontaneous communications, people either following you or unfollowing you, subscribing to you and unsubscribing to you. A lot of communicative chaos is in the hands for you if you have Uranus in Libra. And I would suggest just enjoying this process, because Uranus ultimately, whatever chaos it creates, it leads us to a path of a greater understanding of ourselves. So especially if you are Uranus in Libra that is working on creating something new, maybe an artistic project, maybe a technological development, this Mercury retrograde in Libra is going to give you plenty of aha moments. You might need to test and retest the hypothesis, but ultimately something important will be confirmed as well. So this is an excellent energy for anyone that is engaged in technological, artistic, or scientific research. This Mercury retrograde is taking place on your Neptune, and you have a Neptune in Libra. This is a wonderful period to allow your mind to get in touch with your feelings, with the unconscious parts of yourself. Dreams are going to be super significant to how you will feel inspired in this period, and you can allow a subtle force at work in your life. Some might call it magic, some might call it the world beyond the veil. You will see a lot of synchronicities. You're going to feel as if you are inspired by a hidden unknown force. Allow this force to play out in your life, because it will give you certain ideas that can generally help you bring your dreams into fruition in this period. And Neptune in Libra is also the high-minded energy of unconditional love. So in this period, you can go through some really intense emotional experiences with a person that you consider to be your ideal lover. If this Mercury retrograde energy is conjunct your Jupiter, this is a time where you are going to receive a lot of blessings. It's really important to keep your thoughts as positive as possible so that you can truly access Jupiter's blessings and abundance, because Jupiter tends to expand whatever it meets in your life. So if your thoughts are negative or paranoid or full of fear, those are going to be expanded during this period. Try to allow Jupiter to exaggerate and expand seeds that are incredibly positive. So you're gonna have to do a lot of work in this period, that if you wake up with a groggy mood, or if you're thinking all sorts of nasty stuff and you cannot let go of certain mean people in your life or certain mean things that they said to you, try to think of those aspects as blessings in disguise. I'm learning something really important here. We all can agree to disagree. Transform it into something positive so that Jupiter, when it conjuncts Mercury retrograde, can amplify that blessing, and it will get you in touch with a lot of important people. You could generally win the lottery in this period, especially since Mercury rules calculus and mathematics, and when it meets Jupiter, good luck and expansion, then you could either have to deal with an abundance of numbers at work and a lot of calculations, or highly minded cosmic numbers, or you can actually stand a chance to use numbers to gain a lot of abundance. Yeah, so any kind of betting competitions, any kind of games are really favored in this period. Although I do not encourage you to waste your money on betting, but I am telling you right now that if, for example, you want to wage a small bet with your friends on whether you can win something based on the power of your mind, this is the period to do it. Mercury retrograde conjunct Jupiter is bringing you an abundance of new ideas. It's also putting you in touch with people. You can actually become quite popular during this period. My Jupiter in Libras, you can actually stumble upon a partner that can truly make you quite happy, or have a certain meaningful conversation that can illuminate what you have been missing in your life. So it gives you the gift of awareness, and it helps you change your behavior or correct course in a certain relationship. Now let's get into a forecast by each houses. Check within your birth charts and try to understand where is Mercury retrograde in Libra transiting. So the house where you have Libra in your chart, and we all have Libra in our chart, even though we might not have any planets there, but we do have a segment in our chart that is marked by the wonderful sign of Libra, and it looks like this. Okay, so check within your chart to try to understand where you have that. And now let's get to the house by house forecast. If this Mercury retrograde in Libra is taking place in your first house, issues regarding to your body are gonna come up to the surface. Depending on what other planets you have there and what aspects they make to other planets in your birth chart, you might course through this period with a renewed sense of self-worth, thinking, hey, I'm actually feeling quite good, people are complimenting me. Or if you have squares and oppositions to your Mercury in Libra, and potentially if you have the first house in Libra, then this might actually pose a number of doubts and fears regarding your body. Should I wear this kind of clothes? Should I start working out? Am I gaining weight? These are, or maybe losing weight, these are concerns that will be on your mind during this period. So the body will be first and foremost in your mind during this Mercury retrograde. And I would suggest reanalyzing a certain behavior or a certain pattern that could affect the health and energy of your body. By the end of this transit, you will be given, in no matter what circumstance, whether you're in the self-worth group or in the self-doubt group, you will be given a key. Something will come up to your awareness and you will find a new way to take care of your body. You will have improved something about yourself, or you will have found something to celebrate about yourself. Keep in mind that Jupiter in Aquarius conjunct Saturn in Aquarius are very friendly energies to Libra. So this Mercury retrograde in Libra is actually going to give you a nugget of wisdom or something new regarding what you can improve on the health of your body. If this Mercury retrograde is taking place in your second house, you have your second house in Libra. This is the house of money and the money that you earn through your own independent work. This is the house naturally ruled by Taurus. And when we have a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Venus, the other sign of Venus, Aries Libra, then this talks to me about some money coming back to you, potentially an agreement that you had, maybe a work contract or a business collaboration where somebody forgot to give you some money, or some money was lost, or there was maybe a back payment that you needed to recuperate. This is coming back into your life. Mercury retrograde in the second house is also about finding clever ideas to potentially develop new streams of income. You might need to go over certain ways in which you try to earn your money in the past and develop new potential avenues through which you can earn sources of income. As well as that, because Libra is a partnership sign, you might want to collaborate with people. So this is a period where you can no longer put on the back burner potential collaborations that you wanted to have with certain people. This is the time when your mind is gonna pressure you into doing it. Get up and do it, and it will actually provide you with more financial rewards. This is also the period where you might need to reconsider your diet and really pay a close attention as to what you are eating. Libra is a sign that is very prone to sweets and sugary indulgences, so you might need to reconsider whether your diet is too full of sugary things to the detriment of more organic products. It might affect the way you look. It might affect the beauty of your skin, the health of your hair and nails. So all of these aspects are gonna come up to the forefront. On the other side, it could be that you might not have indulged in those pleasures too much. If you have Saturn in the second house, you're naturally stoic, and Mercury retrograde in Libra is gonna try to push you into the opposite end. Indulge more, eat more sugary things, get a cake, get a bouquet of flowers, drink a glass of wine. Life is made to be lived and enjoyed, not only suffered through. These are the aspects that are coming up for you if you have Mercury retrograde in Libra. Oh, One final thing I need to say with this energy, you might reconsider a job place. You might actually consider whether you want to work for other people, because the second house is also the house of the jobs that we have, the job role that we create. So this can be something that might launch you in a completely different profession or in a potentially new occupation if this is what you were considering before the retrograde started. If you have a third house in Libra, this Mercury retrograde is going to reorganize the way you communicate with other people. This is going to be fantastic communication energy. So if you have been avoiding a conversation, if you are struggling with writing a piece of work, maybe an essay, maybe completing a thesis, maybe having that really uncomfortable communication with a boss, or telling your lover that you might want to break in the relationship, or talking to your parents about certain difficult aspects, this is the period to do it. When Mercury retrograde enters into your third house, I do think that for the majority of you that are going to continue to put this off, things are going to kind of come up to the surface so that you eventually have to deal with them by using clear, just communication and rebalancing whatever has been a little bit in a power imbalance in your personal contacts. This is also a period where you might reconsider what you are studying. You might need to go back to the drawing board. Maybe at work you had some conversations with people that you might need to learn a new language or develop a specific skill. Maybe you need to improve your reading, your writing. Maybe you need to study how to speak for a podcast or how to create videos and upload them on social media platforms. Maybe you're looking to extend your business and redo your website, or you need to get in touch with people that are very fast, very quick, and very knowledgeable in matters of technology and matters of education and improving your everyday administrative aspects. These are all elements that are going to come up to the surface, but primarily a Mercury retrograde in a third house in Libra, this is about communication and personal connections. And this is what's going to be the forefront for you during this Mercury retrograde. If Mercury retrograde is taking place in the fourth house, this is such a sweet house. It's the house where we retreat from the world, where we create our own private oasis of escapism far from the madding crowd. The fourth house is ruled by the moon. It is the space of emotions, how we nurture ourselves and other people. It is our womb-like connection to our mother or maternal figures in our life, and it is how we establish a sense of emotional safety in our life. When Mercury, this quick-witted, intelligent energy, enters there, but it enters it in a retrograde movement, this means that old emotional issues are coming up to haunt you. You are going to have to do some deep work in this period. Issues regarding your home, its safety, the foundations, how comfortable you feel in a home are gonna come to the surface for you to deal with them, to go over them, to maybe change your mind and find a different way of approaching them. So your relationship to your mother, to your maternal figure, to the way in which you mother yourself is gonna be at the forefront. Your home, the ways in which you feel safe in an environment will also be at the forefront. But the fourth house is also the house of our cultural roots, how safe we feel in our nation, how attached we are to our cultural identity. If you're a member of a minority, this is a great period to go and explore your past connections. But also, if you're a member of a majority, you might want to explore certain inherent biases whereby a majority of people in your country of which you belong to could end up discriminating against the minority. This is the house of values. This is the house of who is on our back, on our side, the house of deep knowledge from our Akashic records. So it's a wonderful time to retreat from the world in these 3 weeks while Mercury is retrograding, to study, to get in touch with your ancestors or any familiars that you might have around you, to peruse old photos, old objects, to talk to your elderly, your grandma, your grandpa if they are still alive, or to members of society that can help you get in touch with these ancient, wise, and emotionally replenishing energies. If Mercury retrograde is taking place in the fifth house, well, hello, fun. every situation that you had to say no to that was related to leisure, your skills, performance, this is going to come up to the surface. The fifth house is how we express ourselves. It's how we get on stage and we share our talents with the world. And if you've been putting these things up, they're coming back with a vengeance, baby. This is also the house where you just have some fun, casual, romantic encounters with people. It is not the seventh house where you end up marrying them. It is not the eighth house where you merge your soul with them. This is the fifth house. Fun, going out on dates, experiencing romantic pleasure, going to the amusement park, participating in a ceremony, a birthday, a christening, a wedding. Having fun will be at the forefront of your life during this Mercury retrograde. And also the ways in which you chase fun or how fun chases you, and the boundaries that you might need to establish in that environment, especially if you have Saturn in the fifth house there. So this could be about picking up an acting class or a singing course, or putting yourself out there, participating in a pageant, in a competition. Mercury favors all of these socially minded, skill-based activity, particularly when it enters the house of performance. If you're having this Mercury retrograde transiting your sixth house, well, this is about your daily routine. How well are you taking care of your health? Are you taking all the necessary supplements and nutrients that give you the energy to be of service to other people? Is your routine generally supporting you, or is it frustrating you? Have you been adding too many things to your schedule, taking on too much responsibility, or are you doing too little? You're procrastinating on certain things that you need to actually get a foot on, get a move on. These are all of the elements that are coming up to the surface when Mercury retrogrades your sixth house, traditionally the house ruled by hardworking Virgo. This is also the house of astrologers, occult practitioners, and witchcraft. So as Mercury is transiting through your sixth house, you're going to have to reconsider the work-life balance that is currently at play in your life. Literally the balance, because it's in Libra, and Libra is the sign of equilibrium. So are you spending too much time with other people, helping other people rather than working on your own specific work goals and work projects? Have you been dishing out information that helped a partner receive that promotion that potentially you were working towards? Is your business flooded with details that you find a little bit overwhelming in this period, where this Mercury retrograde in Libra can actually help you get back to the basics? Go over your taxes, go over medical receipts, try to schedule some appointments to the doctor, and stop putting off that appointment for your eyes or your skin, or maybe, the healthy functioning of your internal organs. This is a period to generally focus on your routine and on your health, and how each of these two elements are supporting one another or blocking one another from helping you achieve maximum abundance and efficiency. And we made it to the seventh house. This is the house traditionally ruled by Libra. And if you're having a Mercury retrograde in Libra in the seventh house, well, this is a lot about taking a relationship to the next level. And if there have been only quarter relationships or situationships or weird crushes that never led to anything, this Mercury retrograde in Libra is a time to stop, pause, and reevaluate your personal commitments. Where are you putting your energy into? Are you putting more energy into work, potentially because you're trying to escape from some detrimental and disappointing love situations? Or are you flooding your schedule with so many romantic opportunities that you're finding it very hard to concentrate on work or study? This is a time to regain control, to rebalance your love energy. Are you saying too much in a connection? Are you giving too much, doing too much? Is your partner just taking all the time? Or are you on the opposite end? And potentially you might need to reevaluate a little bit the selfless and selfish balance in the connection. So keep in mind, this Mercury retrograde in Libra has you at the forefront. forefront, because the seventh house, traditionally ruled by Libra, is the house of partnerships, marriage, contractual agreements, a give and take that is equal and balanced and makes both parties feel like they are winning in that connection. So if you are enmeshed in certain connections in your life at the moment where there's a lot of conflict and strife, this could indeed be part of the overall spiritualization of your life and part of your spiritual journey. But use this Mercury retrograde to course correct a number of very fraught communications. If you burn certain bridges in the past because you acted too hastily and you allow the ego to take a hold of the situation rather than let the self come up to the surface, then this is a period to apologize, reconsider, reconcile. It could also be that other people are coming back to give you your true worth, to actually bring the balance of justice back into your loving connections. If you have your Mercury retrograde in the 8th house, and paradoxically I'm having so much light pouring in one of the darkest houses of the zodiac, then this is a reconsideration of your sexual energy, your agony, the inner fire, and how it connects to your prana, your breath. The 8th house is paradoxically a highly spiritual house because, as you guys know, and as I've been trying to educate on my channel, sexuality and spirituality are blended. And in this period, you might want to both get into this spiritual and sexual energy and figure out how to control it, Scorpio, control, or try to basically delegate this to other people that are experts in this field. So you could get into the occult, you might study the occult, you might study tantric breathing, tantric sexuality, or you might get in touch with occult practitioners regarding how you can improve certain practices in your life. A lot of you that feel that you are cursed or under evil eyes or feel like your energy has been very low and depleted might actually resort to certain spells or certain occult habits. You might actually develop a new spiritual routine or reconsider the elements that already exist in your spiritual routine to try to break through certain energetic blockages. For those of you that have suffered from trauma and especially intimate partner violence, sexual abuse, this is a great period to take some time to heal. The 8th house is a healing energy. It is a lot about retreating from the world in order to spend some time mulling over past experiences that have happened to you. In order to go forwards in your life and in your intimate connections, in the way in which you relate to your power, you have to go a little bit backwards. And this Mercury retrograde in the 8th house is giving you the prime opportunity to take some time to consider how much of my power is being taken in personal connections and how much of my power I am taking from other people. Who is the energetic vampire? Who is the chaos addict? Who is the narcissist in this connection? How am I using my empathy to heal other people? And how am I just burning bridges because I allow my ego to run amok in my personal connections? This might lead you to a phoenix moment, a moment where you will feel as if a previous version of yourself is dying in order for something else to come up to the surface. Allow this process to unfold. Do not freak out, but have faith. Spirituality in the 8th house is a lot about renouncing your power to someone that is higher up, not to a specific person or human being here on earth, but to a higher force. So working on your connection with the divine is going to be quintessential for how well you will navigate this Mercury retrograde in the 8th house. Ultimately, by the end of this transit, you will be flooded with insights regarding your power and how to better sit with it and own it. If this Mercury retrograde is taking place in the 9th house, news regarding travels, regarding connection to boats, to faraway lands, oceans, are coming up to the forefront. News regarding higher education are also going to come up all of a sudden in your life. If you've been waiting for a decision regarding admissions to a specific university, or maybe just entering a shrine and being part of a spiritual team of people, or you were wondering, what can I do to further my business or gain more freedom in my life or travel to the other part of the world to explore something, this is the period where you will receive a certain communication that will change the game. This can also be about reuniting with a partner that lives long distance. You might finally be able to take some time off from work and go on a holiday to connect with your sweetheart if your sweetheart lives on a different location than you live. This is also a prime time to get in touch with international people, to exchange communication with people that are not in your local environment, but rather are placed in global settings. You might want to drop your job and become a technological nomad as well during this period. The ninth house is a lot about freedom and the values that we own in our house. Ninth house is a lot about freedom and the values that we live up to. And it is about leaving your local environment to chase adventure and to grow by coming into contact with a variety of different people from all walks of life. For some reason, I do think that tattoos are going to be really important. You might want to decorate your body with spiritual symbols, and some of you might actually travel to a certain indigenous culture and get an indigenous tattoo. Others of you are going to enter the ranks of academia, or you're going to be part of a group of people that are like-minded, and you finally will feel like you belong in that setting. And thereby you are achieving a different type of freedom, not necessarily a physical form of freedom, but a mental form of freedom. The ninth house is the higher mind, and when Mercury reaches it there, then you will be flooded with communication regarding all of these different aspects that can help you liberate yourself. Now, what happens if you have Mercury retrograde in the 10th house? This is the house of your public status, your profession, how you come across at work, the career process. So not just the jobs that we are working, but how each job tells the story of your career progression. What are your values? How are you being perceived by other people? Are you living up to these values? These are certain questions that you'll be asking yourself. Your public role is going to be up for analysis and scrutiny. So be very mindful what you share with people on social media or how certain information can affect the way in which other people perceive you. You might want to actually go over certain things that you already shared on social media. Change your Twitter profile, change your LinkedIn profile. Redo your website if you are the sole owner of a business and your website is the primary way in which clients can get in touch with you. At the same time, this is an excellent period to talk to mentors, talk to somebody more experienced in your field. If you wanted to reach out to them and they never replied, this is the period when that long-awaited email from a mentor might pop in your inbox unexpectedly. Mercury is going to put career issues forefront for you, and your public role is going to receive a boost of inspiration, a boost of knowledge. You're going to gain certain facts, certain elements are going to come into play, and the way in which people perceive you, which already can be quite beautiful and balanced because you do have a 10th house in Libra, this is going to be up for scrutiny. I do feel that with the wonderful energies of Jupiter conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, this is going to play out very harmoniously for you because Aquarius is a friendly sign to Libra, although Libra will be continuously squared by Pluto, so issues of power and power plays and standing in your integrity are gonna come up to the surface. This might be a time when a social justice issue in a corrupt governmental institution might come up to the surface, and being a whistleblower could be something that might positively affect you or negatively impact you, depending on a number of other elements in your chart. Mercury retrograde in the 10th house is about your status and your integrity, and if some things were not working, now's the time to let them go in your career. At the same time, if certain opportunities were missed, this is the period when you're receiving that important piece of information, that welcoming news, that decision on that job interview that you long awaited for. And I have a feeling it's going to work in your interest. Now, if you have a Mercury retrograde in the 11th house, this is the house of your vocation, the social groups that you join. This can also be the place where you connect with others on social media as well, how you use the internet to be part of certain groups or detach yourself from certain groups. This is the house traditionally ruled by Aquarius. It represents our hopes, our wishes, our ideals, and the things we generally fight for in life, not only for ourselves, but because we understand that we are part of a greater collective, that humanity needs to be somehow improved and helped progress. These are certain things that are going to come to the forefront of your mind in this period. So you're going to feel super inspired to connect with friends, to potentially come out of a group or join a group that you've always long expected to join. This is also a period when you might receive certain awards or acclaims for the good work that you've been doing as part of a group. If you are working together within a team of scientists, researchers, or even in a sports group, this can be a time when certain results that you acquired so far might need to be reconsidered just so that they can be improved. Ultimately, I do think that this is going to be a really benefic energy for you, especially if you are a Libra 11th house. This means that you already work with a lot of people and you might have a lot of harmony in your social group interactions due to the fact that Libra is such a beautiful and balanced and people-pleasing sign. This obviously depends on the configuration of each of your birth charts, so there is a different story playing out there if you have Pluto in Libra. But what I need to say at the moment is that I do feel that this Mercury retrograde in the 11th house is going to bring you closer to the realization of what it is that you want to do in life. What is your purpose, either in your own individual work or in your work as part of a team? And how are personal connections in your life affecting this vocation, this life path that you want to walk on? If this Mercury retrograde is taking place in the 12th house, this is such a soft and sweet energy of wanting to escape from the daily grind, of choosing you above other worldly responsibilities, and choosing yourself in a space of seclusion, stillness, where you can create and when you can genuinely listen to the voice of the creator, or where you can receive downloads and insights from the divine. In this period, rest is required for you, my loves. So sleeping more, keeping a dream diary is gonna be really important for you. A lot of you that have Libra in the 12th house, at the moment you're feeling a little bit low on energy, and that's a natural process, mostly because as soon as Mercury is going to enter into your first house and in Scorpio, you're going to receive a smash of energy. Energy is going to flood you in and you're going to start a new cycle. But at the moment, it's really important to pull your energy into yourself and to genuinely consider, how are you traveling astrally? How are you connecting with the divine? What is the routine that you have developed for yourself that allows you to carve some time for solitude? This is a super beautiful, super giving and self-sacrificing energy. And especially if you have Libra there, you really do want to work in the service of other people. I personally have a 12th house in Libra, and it has brought me to the realization that I am a light worker. I like to meditate a lot, I like to do yoga, and especially in this period, I like to slow down a little bit and go on a holiday or stop the work that I was doing in order to rest more, in order to sleep more, and take better care of my inner world. Mostly because I know that as soon as the planets move from Libra into Scorpio, an infusion of new energy and power will enter my life. So if you are like me, a Libra 12th house, and Mercury is pushing this energy there, take time to meditate, take time to rest, to sleep, take a faraway trip that helps you escape your daily responsibilities. 3 weeks in the year you can do that, or at least one of those 3 weeks, or a couple of days out of these 3 weeks. You can certainly allow yourself some time to take care of your inner world, your connection to the divine, and especially your world of unconscious pleasures, fantasies, and dreams. Also, I really wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who's following me on Instagram and who voted for the earrings that you see here today. So I'm literally showcasing something that you guys helped me pick. This is kind of like a dress me up creative exercise. I'm really enjoying it. I hope to be able to do it in the future with you guys. Thank you so much for your vote.